the smoke-filled clouds of the 303, all the way down to the 505. This is the Dro Bro Show with Remo Vinci, Grimx, and Soul Doja. Yeah, the Dro Bro Show. What's up, everybody? This is Mr. Vicious Remo Vinci back with another episode of the Dro Bro Show. Episode 17, in fact. I fucked that all up, huh? Shit, I usually do that the other way, don't I? Well, I'm here as usual with my fellow Dro Bros, Grim X and Soul Doja. Say what's cracking, fellas.
What up? What up?
It's really hard to believe that we're already over 4 months.
I know, right? That shit came up quick. What'd you say? Say it again.
Who, me? I was just saying that it's a trip that, like I said, that we're over 4 months. To me, it's kind of quite surprising. I was sitting here thinking as you were giving the introduction that, hey, 16 divided by 4, that is 4. That's freaking 4 months. Damn.
Yep. And you would think after all this time I'd have the intro fucking together and shit, and here I fucked it all up.
Freestyle.
Right. What's up, Doge? How you doing? Tell everybody how it is.
Gotta just do it off the top of your head. You know what I'm saying?
I feel that. How you guys doing this week? You guys doing good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got my little baby food jar. You know.
That looks wonderful.
Did you? Oh, I was gonna be like,
you make your mom
mad. MIA. Like the crow.
Well, unfortunately, yeah, I was just gonna kick the grill so we could kick it off. But
I'm here. I'm here.
What?
I had to go check something. Sound like the dang cats were trying to tear up the damn.
Oh no!
Look, I showed Remo earlier. Look, Grim, it's an ounce of dabs.
Oh, dope!
It's all look.
Oh God!
Look at the honey. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be like Winnie the Pooh. Give me my honeys.
Yeah, it look like Winnie the Pooh over there. Check him out. This little
the yellow means that they're using like the better stuff. If it's more brown, they're using stems and freaking leaves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's how you know it's quality.
It's more cleaner.
Hell yeah. Sounds good. I'm down to give it a shot.
That's what it says on here. Only real products.
Well, speaking of only real products, we got another great one for y'all this week. Grim, why don't you let them know what we're getting into this week?
So we've already mentioned it before on another episode. This is going to be movies based off of what was inspired by the graphic novel created by James O'Barr, The Crow. This comic book came out in February 1989, and it ran through November 1999, so for 10 years.
But actually, it was in development for about 10 years before the comic even came out, because the dude that wrote it,
James O'Barr,
he actually did everything with it. He did all the animation or all the illustration and everything too. But this dude, his girlfriend passed away, bro. Like she got tragically killed or whatever, by a drunk driver. And that's kind of what inspired the story behind it. You know what I mean? Not the actual story that he wrote, but the emotion behind it, the feeling behind it, you know, that carries the whole movie, really.
He's quoted as saying it's a love letter to my girlfriend who died.
Yeah.
Have either of you guys ever checked out the comic books?
I haven't, bro. I've only seen like in documentaries and like movies that talk about the Crow. I've only seen the artwork and the stuff from there.
I didn't even know it was like a comic book till like years later.
Well, it was super, super underground. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't this well-known, widely distributed comic. So, it was kind of like obscure. But go ahead, Grim. Go ahead and get more into what happened next.
So, I mean, I don't want to get too much into it because it does revolve around basis of the first movie, on the comic, anyways. Uh, I just want to get into the basics of it. The comic started off about Eric Draven, who we all know, later on played by Brandon Lee, and his girlfriend, fiance Shelley, Eric Shelley is the main character, and her name was
Shelley Webster.
Webster, yeah. And basically, these two were murdered, and through supernatural means, when a person suffers a loss in that manner, that a crow could come and basically resurrect that soul to get revenge. And so that's the basis of the story. I mean, it sold well. It was a phenomenon, and it's what inspired the movie. Now, going to this first Crow movie, I mean, I just have to discuss this because it's in his last interview. So if you've ever had the special edition of The Crow, or you could look up Brandon Lee's last interview, and he discusses this. And I want to bring it up because it came up in a conversation between you and I, Remo. And I feel it's important because I know we get carried away when we start talking about violence and we start talking about revenge and vengeance. The only reason he said he did this movie is because of the love story, that power of connection. That it wasn't about the revenge or anything, because normally he would have stayed away from movies like this. But he felt that the love story was so powerful, that it was so meaningful, that type of love, that you only hear about. And that's what drew him to the movie. That's what made him want to do this movie. And he was actually engaged to be married at the time of this movie. And for those of you who don't know, Brandon Lee sadly passed away during the making of this film, which was a freak accident. Bless you.
Thank you.
Or was it?
So, I mean, okay, get into it first. The thing that killed Brandon Lee, that they're saying, is that when they shot him with blanks, or supposed to have shot him with blanks, that the guy who was in the props direct guy who was in charge of cleaning out the guns after the takes didn't clean it out. And these blanks have rubber that come with it, right? And that buildup in there could be fired out of the gun and it could become very dangerous. And they're saying that it entered into his abdomen and was lodged in his spine. He died in the hospital hours later from internal injuries and blood loss and heart failure on March 31st.
93.
Yeah, so the reason why it's so dangerous is because you can't x-ray for it. It's rubber. How do you find something inside of a person and they're bleeding internally, and you're in a race against time to try to save this person, but there's no way to find the thing that's causing them to bleed so profusely.
Well, for one, this movie is our main topic today. We're gonna get into everything surrounding it and whatnot, but this movie in itself is one of my all-time favorite movies, and I have a lot of connections to it still to this day. But as far as like what it's more widely known for, I think is Brandon Lee's death and this whole freak accident, or what Doze was kind of hinting towards, like whatever conspiracies may come of it, which I'm sure we'll get into later. But this movie, bro, it just changed the game for a lot of things. And it didn't even come out for a whole year until after he passed. You know what I mean? It didn't come out till May of 94, and he died in March of 93. So they almost didn't come out with it. And this movie, I don't know if you guys got to watch any other YouTube videos talking about this shit or whatever, but man, this movie was like snake bit from the get. when it came from either, from the actual comics itself or to this movie being made or to the sequels being made. Like, there's just so much bullshit and like problems that come from a lot of this shit, like as if it were some kind of otherworldly curse. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we'll get into that some more too. But the I don't know if you guys had heard, but I had just heard on something that supposedly the guy that actually fired the bullet was the guy that played Fun Boy, and I don't know if you guys saw that anywhere, but I heard that on an interview.
I thought, wasn't it like the scene where he like looks through his hand and stuff? He's like, ah.
I don't know. I don't know what scene it was exactly, but
I always thought it was the end scene where he goes to see Top Dollar, the main villain, and he's standing on the table like this, and they all fire at him. And when he went down to the ground, the way I remember it is that the guy who went to check on him, who gets shot with the shotgun in the movie, right? When he went to check on him, that's when he found him lying bleeding on the floor, from what I understand.
Okay.
That's I heard that too, but I heard both stories, but who knows?
Yeah.
So I thought right now, but obviously it's telling you some stuff about his life. I'm trying to get to the point.
Well, while you're doing that, I just want to get into quickly, like you mentioned, Top Dollar, and you talked about Eric and Shelley, but the characters in this movie are so like perfectly written and well defined. Like the gang, the whole gang of dudes, on Hell's Night, and we haven't even talked about Hell's Night yet or any of that, but like the whole dynamic of that gang and the group and how they are kind of like this brotherhood. Excuse me. And how well the actors are that played. Like, this movie was perfectly cast. The performances were awesome, bro. Did you guys know that the dude that played T-Bird is the same guy from the Warriors movie? The same guy that did Warriors Come Out and Play. That is that dude.
The other one that is important in the film is Top Dollar's sister, who played Trini on the Mighty Power Rangers, who passed away from a car accident shortly after that film as well.
Mai Ling, she played the Yellow Ranger?
Yeah, Thoi Trang. Oh, is that the second movie that she's in?
Yeah, it must be a different one, bro, because Mai Ling is the one in the first one.
Yeah, I'm skipping ahead. It's in the second one. So
yeah, you had me all fucked up. I was like, really? What?
No, they're not giving the details on this thing, and I don't think they talk about it. Like, seems like that's a lot of the case where people don't talk about exactly how it happened. They just talk about exactly what happened. But Michael Massey fired at him with a prop gun during filming.
Yeah, and that's the guy that, like I said, was Fun Boy, and I heard he had a real hard time after that, bro. I mean, obviously, how couldn't you? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure. I'm sorry, what?
He said it's something you can never get over.
Yeah, how could you?
I don't know. Alec Baldwin looked like he got over his pretty fast.
Well, I was just gonna bring him up, and I was gonna say that I don't think that he does that well with it either. But I don't know. Maybe you see something different.
The difference is he had a live gun, right? And in this, the reason why Brandon Lee had passed away, it wasn't because of the actor firing the gun. It's because of when they cleaned out the props. The guy didn't clean out the prop properly, and so it fired rubber debris into him.
I thought it was metal, actually, but maybe, yeah, you're probably right, because I didn't look that far into it.
Yeah, and they're saying it's rubber, and it didn't go through him like a normal bullet. That because it was rubber, it spun and twisted and then lodged into his spine. So they said it cut through him.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Lodged in his spine, and yeah, like I said, the reason why it's more dangerous, and that's why it's a big deal. And the guy who was on there, I don't think they give his name because it doesn't matter. He's already been destroyed by this. His name, he was never able to work on another film again, and he freaking his career was ruined because of it, for failing to do his job properly.
Wow. I mean, I get it though. You know what I mean? Like there should be zero tolerance when it comes to things like that, Like you have You have very, very specific jobs for a reason. You know?
And that's an important one too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Those I was talking about the characters a minute ago and like the cast and all that. What was
Hey,
one of the go ahead.
how old were you when you first seen The Crow?
When I first watched it, my first memories of it, bro, I had to have been like around 6 or 7, I'm thinking. Something like that.
Uh,
'Cause I remember my older brother and my cousin Skrilla and all them. I remember like them talking about it. You know what I mean? And I
yeah,
remember
I mean,
like
uh,
Brandon Lee dying. Like I remember that being a thing because that was all around the time that Dragon, the Bruce Lee story came out too. You know what I'm saying? So I remember watching that movie and then like having this better understanding of like what happened with Bruce, kinda. You know what I mean? And then like also, having my fandom grow from there. So it was kind of crazy. I was just a young guy though.
yeah,
I,
me and my brother had to sneak up and watch it because we were waiting for it to come out forever, and we got to go rent it. But then my mom and stepdad watched it, and they were like, "Nah, that's too violent for you guys, you kids." And then we waited till I fell asleep and we snuck up and watched that shit. And then my brother wouldn't go to bed because he was all freaking scared from the eyeball scene, and he was all weirded out. And uh,
Oh man, that is shocking for you. I don't remember like when I first watched the movie for in its entirety. Like I remember seeing clips and I remember seeing like whatever they would show on TV like to advertise and whatnot. But that
yeah,
that was all I had seen up until a point, and then I don't remember how old I was when I first saw it. But there is a lot of like striking images. You know what I mean? Like the eyeball thing and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And
or where they're shooting up, and then he grabs her arm and puts the
squeezes it
drugs out
out.
her. Yeah, that was like
yeah.
what?
Cool, man. That's cool. And I like what he said. Oh, I wish I could remember it word for word. Do you
So
know, Grim?
the name of mother is the name of God in the eyes and hearts of children.
Yes. Thank
Says
you.
go
Thank
back
you.
and be out with your daughter. She needs you. Um,
Yep.
I memorized that movie word for word because it really resonated with me. And for those of you who don't know, check out the story on the Vicious Interviews, now renamed the Remo Interviews.
Primo Show.
Yeah, uh, this happened. So I know that it came out and I was 10, and it would have came out to rent when I was 11, but it would have been around. No, it came out in theaters when I was 11, so it would have been around 12 or 13 years old when I seen this. So this was right around the time, in the time frame of the Vicious Interviews, where right around the time yeah, right after the whole Safe House thing, and
Oh.
so I really resonated with this movie a lot, and of course I loved it because I grew up on Bruce Lee, Brandon Lee. My mom's from Seoul, South Korea, so I even grew up on the Bruce Lee and all of that stuff. Sonny Chiba, because my mom brought all these movies, and we grew up in the kung fu films, and because we were Asian, there wasn't a lot out there to look up to. So I always looked up to Bruce, and then when Brandon Lee came, I had high expectations for him. Unfortunately, he only got to make 4 movies, but amazing that his last movie was this one.
Yeah.
And
And,
what
and his other ones were dope too, though.
I
Like
was gonna say,
that Rapid Fire, and then the one
what's
he
your
did with Dolph Lundgren, the Showdown in Tokyo or whatever it was called. That was a badass movie.
what's your
Right?
favorite one?
Oh, I think it has to be that one because I like Dolph Lundgren too, and fucking it's got Tia
Hey,
Carrera in that movie too, and she's badass.
oh, I've just bought that movie and watched it again. That movie's still tight. Hey, and
Yeah.
then it's hilarious because like Dolph Lundgren's like all like cultured, and like Brandon Lee's like all like American cultured. Like they're like opposite somewhat. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of funny like how they did the roles in that. And
Well,
then like Dolph Lundgren being all big old dude and shit. And he has this nice house and like, like
all sitting on the floor. It's all tiny and shit. But fucking like the thing for me is that like Bruce was always such like in all of his movies, Bruce was always like well mannered and like all, you know what I mean? Like very humble and like all that kind of stuff, you know? And Brandon in that movie was like real flashy and show off and kind of like a, you know what I mean? Like a,
all
like
cocky,
a guy.
smart ass.
Yeah, like he reminded me of like what Johnny Cage would be, you know, from Mortal Kombat. It kind of reminded me of that type of a cockiness. So anyway,
Yeah.
I like that one. I think Rapid Fire was good too, but it's not as memorable for me. So I couldn't even tell you what the plot was or anything in that one.
That was
That
a
one
dope.
was really good too.
I remember it being good. I just don't remember the plot or anything about it really.
And I like the martial arts in the Rapid Fire too, because it was more like realistic, like scenes, like every day, like you know, in the house or
Yeah,
wherever,
okay.
you know, like at a party.
And
Yeah.
Powers Booth was in it, dude.
I do like that dude. I like him. He was the villain, right?
Yeah, and
He's the guy. He was also one of the villains in the main villain in fucking Tombstone. Doge.
his voice.
He's the
Oh,
yeah. He's got a cool voice. He was the one that was Curly Bill, the leader of the Cowboys.
Oh, what the hell, really?
Yeah, that was that dude. He was the bad guy in
Huh.
he
Rapid
also
Fire.
played, Darkseid in Justice League, the cartoon. He's the voice of him for those DC fans out there.
Oh yeah, that's tight.
That's why I say he's got a dope voice. But that was the movie where wasn't it where they took over the factory and stuff like that? I thought, and he fights that guy with the barrel on the fire at the end.
Something like that. Yeah.
But so back to The Crow though, dude. There's
Go ahead.
just so much scenes, cinematography. So I guess when you guys were mentioning the fact that it came out a year after, it's because they had to do a lot of scenes where they actually pieced together Brandon Lee's face from different photos and images and camera angles to repiece his face to finish the movie because he didn't get to film all the scenes.
Yep. He only had like 4 days left of filming though, so he did majority of the work. So it was very minimal what they had to do, but it was still a lot, especially for the technology at the time. Go ahead,
Well,
Doge.
Wasn't it the Game of Death that they had to do that with Bruce Lee?
Exactly. How weird is that? Isn't
No.
that fucking weird?
What they did with Bruce Lee is they put a cardboard cutout on the dude's face
Well,
and then that scene in front of the mirror, and then they just use a totally different actor and just act like you're stupid enough to not notice. That's what they did with that. But and how messed up that they actually show his real funeral in that movie because it came out 6 years after his death.
it was a long time after death, huh? I forgot about that. I forgot it was so long. How weird, man. How fucking weird is that? But yeah, I mean, I get that they use different tactics, you know what I mean? Obviously, because they didn't have the technology, but how strange is that both of them in their last roles had to finish the movie that way? You know what I mean? Isn't that fucking weird, bro? I didn't even realize that, Doge. I didn't even realize that until you said that, you fucking sneaky motherfucker.
So weird.
Because I don't hate to comment on that whole Bruce thing till our Bruce episode, but
Yeah.
what I was gonna say though, it's my understanding that the whole top dollar fight scene in the rain on the rooftop, that whole scene was filmed with the stuntman and they pieced together his face because that was one of the scenes that Brandon Lee didn't get to film. And I go back and watch it, and even like that scene where he's talking to him when he's hanging off the ledge, right? Supposedly a lot of that has to be things that they did it with, and it's just amazing how well it looks, how well they did it, and it's hard to tell.
Well, I mean, so when you started talking about this right away, one of the first things you said was the cinematography. And bro, like, you know how when Sin City came out, how that Frank Miller comic, how that style, how it like changed the game and everybody started loving that shit. 300 kind of did their thing off of it too. I think The Crow was like one of the first ones to do it like that because it had such a comic book feel to it also. You know what I mean? It really felt like Batman mixed with some kind of like rock horror movie. You know what I mean? It was kind of crazy. You know what I mean? So I think the editing that it already called for really helped out with some of that shit too. You know what I'm saying? I think it kind of played to their advantage when they had to figure out what to do to finish off.
Yeah, I like how they did that style, like the film and stuff, like that grimy, dark feeling, like like gritty, like yeah.
And I think it inspired a lot of shit after it. You know what I mean? Because there wasn't a whole lot like that before it.
Well, I think what a very memorable scene, like a very cinematic scene, is where he throws the lighter down and it lights up the crow, right? A lot of people think of that when they think of the crow, but I got to mention real quick because I think it's amazing that they used Ernie Hudson as the cop in the movie and his storyline with Eric Draven, because it's awesome to see him get the chance because he's a great actor and he deserved that chance because for those of you who don't know, in the Ghostbusters movie, they had wrote the role for Eddie Murphy. And when he couldn't take on the role because of previous engagements, and I think he was doing Beverly Hills Cop or something like that, they basically wrote out the Winston characters. It doesn't really give Ernie Hudson the credit that he deserves as an actor and what he can do.
Hey, are either of you guys fans of Beverly Hills Cop?
Yeah.
The new one comes out next week.
No.
I did see that.
4.
I did see that. I've only seen maybe the first two. I haven't seen the third one, and
What? That's the best one.
And to be honest with you, I've only seen them recently, like within the last 5 years or so, because I wasn't really like, I don't know why, but I just never had the opportunity or never wanted to watch it or anything like that.
Man.
So I'm catching up. I'm sorry, but I'm catching up. And it's not. I don't have anything against Eddie either. I like Eddie Murphy.
Hey, we'll give you time, and then that could be one of the movies we review down the road.
Yeah, we could that whole franchise. That'd be kind of tight.
Oh yeah, I like the 1 and 2 because there's more nudity in it. Some tatas and stuff.
Oh, those. So, I wanted to also talk about, like, with the cinematography. We talked about how he did that scene with the lighter and the crow with the fire, but also the scenes like when he killed the dudes. Like each one of them has this like iconic parts. You know what I mean? Like each guy.
Like the guy he stabs in all his organs or something like that. Alphabetical order.
Yeah, in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Tintin, yeah. And that dude, like, again, like we talked about earlier, the gang themselves, like that, fire it up, and then they would take the shots with the fucking bullet, dog. Like, oh, them fools are crazy as fuck. Oh, here we go. You dirty mothers. It never fucking works. Why?
You gotta go like this.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck this shit.
Fire it up.
Well,
that's every time we do our drill moment.
I was just gonna say, I think that takes this. So start it off, Doves. What you got?
Oh, I got some ill treats, and then I put a bunch of my hash in there. Yeah. We'll see if I'm coherent throughout the rest of the show.
You won't be coherent at all. What you got there, Grim?
Pink lemonade.
Pink lemonade.
I want to let you know, I had a friend, he let me try his cereal milk, and damn, that shit did taste like cereal milk. I told him, man, my homie on the podcast is always fucking talking about the cereal milk carts, and I've only had the flour. So he let me
good, right?
Damn.
But there's even one better than that, bro. That's like a milk one, and it's called blue milk. And I've only got that twice before, and I can never find the shit anymore, bro. But it was badass.
And guess who?
Cereal,
hey, did you try the fruity cereal one? I tried that one. That one tastes like Fruit Loops.
I haven't tried that one, though.
I had the schnozberries, but guess who it was? It's shout out freaking Raymond Aces.
Raymond Aces.
Raymond Aces.
I'm fucking with my little, I told you guys last time about my little variety blend. You know, that's got like the bottom of the sacks of a variety of different sacks. So I've been fucking with that for flour. And then our people at Skunked, you know what I mean? They hooked it up, and I got one of those little 4 grams, and it's Applejack.
I got the Dank One lemon headband cart. It's pretty good.
Lemon headband.
92.6%.
Well, y'all ready?
Yep.
Here we go.
Yeah. Fire it up. Fire it up. Fire it up. I forgot about that shit when they do that in the movie. That's so funny.
Oh yeah. That was perfect.
I gotta rewatch that movie now.
And that has been our Drummond of the week.
Drum moment.
Ooh, you didn't watch it back before the show? You fucking motherfucker. See, damn.
I didn't because I've watched it so much.
That's how I felt. I was like, I don't need a refresher. I know that movie. That was like my child. I used to watch that one, Lost Boys, and The Doors. Childhood. That's what got me to childhood.
Never even seen The Lost Boys.
What? How dare you say that?
Dude.
I don't like all that little fairy dink fucking vampire horse shit. Fuck all that.
No, that was when they was like tough and shit still before Interview with the Vampire.
Listen, I'm gonna be cool because I know Donald Sutherland just passed away this week. So Kiefer, I'm rest in peace to your pops and all that kind of shit. So I ain't gonna dog it out too much. But that ain't my shit at all, bro. That ain't my shit.
Man, that movie's tight. They kill. They fight them. It's not like Twilight, all right. They don't sparkle.
They all twinkle, bro. The only vampires that don't twinkle are the ones that are in fucking From Dusk Till Dawn, you know?
Oh, I thought you meant the ones in the Congress buildings and Senates and shit.
Oh, see, that's for a different show.
I like that shit too, but I think.
Hey, you better calm down.
Like the crystal bodies, think of it in those terms. And being like stone, I kind of like that whole idea. I mean, I think it's weird you have to shine like that, but I do like the premise that it was kind of different, and to have like daywalkers not be half breeds, just like Blade.
Yeah, I like that. I like the Blade shit too. We should do that too one of these days. Duly noted.
It's because I'm trying to look this up.
Only part 1 and 2 are good on the Blades. Because Wesley Snipes didn't do nothing with part 3.
But Triple A?
Reynolds and Jessica Biel, that was dope. And they fought Dracula.
I don't know.
I like.
That's a later. That's for October's episode.
Yeah, one of the October ones. Hey, so this movie too, like, not only the cinematography in The Crow was badass, but also like the dialogue, bro. It was so well written too. There was so many cool one-liners and shit that are just awesome. Like I like when that dude Skank says, "I feel like a little fucking worm on a big fucking hook" or some shit like that. You know, that was so funny.
Or that the famous one where he says it, it can't rain every day or all the time or something.
Can't rain all.
Yeah.
So glad you brought that one up because, bro, like I kind of alluded to in the beginning of the episode, that this was one of my favorite movies, and I had a lot of meaning with it and whatnot. And you guys remember I had the Shrek $ for a long time and shit. So fucking, I was gonna have that covered up, and I was gonna do it with the Crow, dog, like with the the one that was on fire and shit, that emblem like that one. I was gonna do it with that and have it can't rain all the time underneath, because I was going through some shit. It was one of them hard times in life, and it felt like that was going to be right. I didn't end up doing it, and it turned out to be, my cross here. But it was still gonna be something I was fucking with for a minute. You know, that was one of my shit.
Speaking of that, like song, for instance, I just want to say I love the soundtrack for this movie. The song by The Cure.
Oh, I wanted to bring that up too.
Love the song. And then Nine Inch Nails, one of my favorite rock groups of all time. I freaking love that song. And that's where he's jumping on the buildings before he gets Tintin. Like,
yeah,
I love that movie. I can remember all the things.
I have a few of those songs on my phone still that I play. I had the soundtrack that I bought back when we used to buy soundtracks and CDs.
Yeah.
in the ancient 1990s era. Back in my time, we used to buy CDs and shit.
but not only is like the soundtrack itself tight, but like the score of it is fucking tight. Like, do you remember that scene when he's up there in that room, in their room or whatever, you know, on the top of the building, and he's playing the guitar, and he does like this quick little riff, dog, that's so fucking tight.
Was it that he was really playing that, wasn't he?
Yeah, he did. I thought
that was because he used to really play music. He used to really play guitar.
Yeah, and I thought that really was him playing it too. I think that's in the special features. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know if that's true or not, but all I know is I sent that sample to our homeboy Anton, and hopefully he makes one of the deadliest beats you ever heard in your life with it. And you know, we'll have something to show soon. Want to get down on that, Doge?
Oh man.
I don't know.
I don't doubt him.
It was Brandon Lee.
He played it?
Yeah.
It's called Inferno or something like that. But did you guys know that there was this other character that was supposed to be in it, like some cowboy?
Oh, it was Eddie Van Halen.
No, it wasn't Eddie Van Halen. It was some creepy looking dude.
Eddie Van Halen? You know he was into aliens, right?
So it says Google has nothing to look it up, but this guy says that he followed the development of the Crow right up until Brandon's tragic passing. And in an interview that was released about the time the movie came out, he says he clearly remembers Brandon stating that I hope Eddie Van Halen's hands look like mine, in a reference to the guitar solo. But he says he can't find anything on the internet about it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's on Strat Talk. Okay. So no, when I look it up, it does. When you look it up, it says who played the guitar solo on the Crow. It says Eric Draven, and in parentheses Brandon Lee, and then it leads you to the link on YouTube. But like I said, this other guy says this on that Strat News or whatever. Strat Talk.
Well, whoever does it is fucking tight as shit, and I think that if our homeboy gets a hold of it, like I think he did, you know, we're gonna have some tight shit. But again, like I was saying, did you guys know about this other character that was cut from the movie? That was this cowboy, and it was actually a character from the comics. It was called the Skull Cowboy. This guy filmed scenes as it. And I guess he was supposed to be like Eric Draven's spirit guide, but the scenes were cut from the finished film. Guy named Michael Berryman played him. Oh, okay, yeah. This Michael Berryman dude, I told you he was kind of crazy looking. He had that disease. Let me see, what is it called here? Hypohidrotic ectodermal dysplasia, a rare condition that affects the development of sweat glands, skin, hair, and fingernails. It also led to him developing cranial stenosis, requiring him to undergo cranial reconstructive surgery as a child. But he was in a bunch of movies. Weird Science, The Hills Have Eyes. He has like a crazy dome and shit. I wish we had like the picture-in-picture so I could show you guys right here. But did you guys know about this other character that was supposed to be in The Crow?
No.
You guys ever heard about that, Doge?
No. No, I didn't hear about that before. But I did know there's like probably a ton from the comic books.
Is
Yeah.
okay. So wait for it. Wait for it. Not showing him now. The heck.
What? Well, while you're doing that, still, there was the Ernie Hudson character. His name was Sergeant Albrecht, but his boss. Oh shit! What you doing here, Doge? I mean,
Hold on. Let me take off the. Go ahead. Just.
well, what I was gonna say is his boss was Detective Torres in the movie, and his real name was Marco Rodriguez. But this guy was badass too. I don't know if you guys have ever seen. It was a Charlie Sheen, Clint Eastwood movie called The Rookie. Yeah, that dude.
And this is how he was gonna look.
Yeah.
Oh, hell no.
Could you imagine that in The Crow?
That's creepy.
Right?
That's pretty tight, though.
I think it feels like it doesn't even go. I feel like it doesn't even work. Like it's just so weird.
Hey, but let me ask you. I haven't seen the other ones, but I don't know if you guys have, but would they probably have characters like that in the other ones, don't they?
So I know. Go ahead. Grim probably knows a lot more than I do because I've only seen half of the very next one, the City of Angels or whatever.
So, let's get into that one, yeah, because we haven't even touched on the other ones yet. So on the Crow City of Angels was Vincent Perez, and obviously since Brandon Lee died, they couldn't do Eric Draven's character, so they did a different character named Ash. He and his son, they witness a murder and they're captured by this drug lord, and they're both murked for witnessing this murder. So Ash returns, and he's kind of guided by Sarah, the girl from the first Crow movie, because she knew Eric Draven, so she basically knows that he's the Crow. This is the one that has Stoy Trang in it, who is the Yellow Ranger who passed away.
Okay.
So anyways, this one it was a David Goyer script. For those of you who don't know, that's the guy who did the Dark Knight trilogy with Chris Nolan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's a really cool movie, and the Deftones are playing on the float at the end at the Dia de la Muerte parade, and so I said this in the Quentin Tarantino podcast about there being the second movie was supposed to be about the female Crow. I can't find anything on it, but it was the third Crow is a female, and it was Iris, and at that point, like I stated, that's why Kill Bill has says that it was kind of inspired by that story. Was
supposed to be the second one, though. It wasn't supposed to be the third. That was supposed to be the second one.
Well, I'm saying in the comics, she's the third Crow.
Okay. I see.
But I'm saying I can't find. Yeah, that's what I said in the last podcast. Is that it was the second movie that was supposed to be about her, and I can't find that says that, but
because that one also was based on true events, like what the guy that wrote it, that O'Barr, he had saw something on the news or whatever talking about another tragedy that happened. You know what I mean? Another love story tragedy, and it just like fucking fit perfect in with the franchise. You know what I mean? So he had wrote the story of The Bride, and yeah, the Kill Bill character was definitely Jack. There was a lot of it that was Jack from it, like just the premise of the whole thing. So that's exactly where it came from. And this one that actually came out, The City of Angels, I wish I had a little bit more time and I could have watched all the sequels because I wanted to give it a good, honest review on the whole franchise. But just from what I've seen in different documentaries where they're talking about the whole franchise, seems like these sequels were corny as fuck, all of them, and they just got cornier and cornier and cornier as they were getting made. You know what I mean? So this Vincent Perez one, I do remember seeing a little bit of it at least, and I don't remember it being that good either. I remember being bummed out because it didn't have the same kind of feel as the first one did.
Okay, so that's why I didn't want to listen to anything either. I wanted to give my honest opinion and reviews on these movies. As far as like how I felt, And I liked this movie. I was like you. I felt bummed out that Brandon Lee had passed and that it wasn't him, but I liked that they went a different direction and they weren't trying to rehash the movie. But I've seen reviews saying that it's just a straight rehash of the original. Not really. It has its own thing going on. And there are parts and aspects, yes, because they have the main villain, they have the Asian with him that and I feel like, and you have Sarah, I get it. There's a lot of similarities, but I thought this one was pretty well done. And again, I discussed it before with you, Remo, that third one I really was shocked by,
Yeah. Before you get to the third one,
yeah,
I want to say for what was I gonna say for the second one? I lost it. Oh, I always felt like the second one should have been the story of the little girl. You know what I mean? The Sarah character, like as she was an adult. And I know she was like a supporting character, like a supporting role in the next one. I felt like it should have been her. Like she should have been like the main character. You know what I mean?
She dies in that movie.
Oh, does she? Damn, how crazy.
I think. I'm pretty sure.
Y'all don't die. Wrong spoiler.
We don't know show.
Shit.
Yeah.
I didn't watch any of the other ones.
She did. She dies in his arms when he takes her body back to the church. I thought that's what happened. See, it's just how that's why I remember they didn't go forward with her because her character passed away.
Yeah. Well, tell me about that third one, because the third one is the one that has the guy that you said you liked, and then it also has what's her name when she was real young, that Kristen Dunst or whatever.
Yeah, Eric Mabius, that's what his name is, and he plays Alex Corvus, and he was falsely convicted for stabbing his girlfriend, and so somebody else did it, and the story is that's why he's resurrected, and he ends up meeting the sister, and it's weird because she watched him pass away in the electric chair. Okay. And she's basically like the Sarah character. But what I like about it is it went in a different direction. And the story was pretty good. I didn't think I was going to like it. I really didn't like that they gave the crow short hair, even though that's more like the comic books. But I didn't like the look after the way Brandon Lee defined it, and Vincent Perez basically did the same. And shout out to the Crow TV series if you haven't seen that for any of you guys. And it was that one dude. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, who was the guy that played the Crow in that series? Because he's like a martial arts actor from something. I've seen him in shit before, but it was lame, huh? Give it the thumbs down, Doge. It was so corny and lame.
I thought it was
Where's the thunderstorm?
But you were talking about the hair a minute ago. And bro, I, believe it or not, was somewhat of a hair aficionado at one point in my life. And I fucking, I mean, like you said, how Brandon Lee defined the character with the way he, with the grimy Bret Hart looking fucking hair, right? And the next dude, it was like this Farrah Fawcett, fluffy Ric Flair kind of hair, dog, in the Vincent Perez one. And I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Yeah, that guy. What's his name?
Mark DeCascos.
I don't recognize his name, but I definitely recognize his face. He's been in some martial art movies I've seen.
What did you guys like when Sting was playing the Crow?
Thank you. That's why I'm wearing the Sting Wolfpack shirt today.
I didn't even realize what that was till now.
Yeah.
But it's dope. Remember in his entrance at Starrcade, they even did the poem from the Crow before
they did. They had the girl says it.
Yeah, it was so sick.
Bro, I don't care what anybody says. Well, okay, never mind. I can't say that. Because that fucking Starrcade, bro, even though Sting won, they did it all whack. They didn't fucking do it right. You know what I'm saying? It was lame. Excuse me. Graham, you're supposed to be with me, bro.
No, it's because I was just reading this. It's crazy.
You kept that Wolfpack shirt that whole time?
No, I got this when the kids were little, but I have had it about 10 years.
Fuck, dude, Old.
Look, it even says NWO on the back. See that shit?
No.
No.
Where at? You don't say NWO?
No.
It's just a red back. So
Yeah, you read back.
Never mind. My fault.
Boyer,
I have a Wolfpack one where it's just the face of the wolf, and that's the one that has the NWO on the back. My bad.
Boyer
What
originally,
are you talking about?
Hey, on this show, you gotta prove. You have to show to prove. You know what I'm saying?
You go run all the way upstairs to get this fucking shit.
so
No,
Boyer
just do.
intended Sarah to return as the
On
female
the
Crow,
next show.
but James O'Barr attempted to write the script himself, but all he could think about was his deceased friend Brandon Lee, and he told Tim Pope that he couldn't do it, but gave his blessing as long with what was its own story.
Yeah, because didn't Brandon Lee like kind of not co-write, but he was kind of there, pretty much helping out with this.
That dude was so heavily involved in it, bro. Like it wasn't even funny. Like he was very hands on with a lot of it.
That to me is a good actor and an artist. You know what I mean? Oh, you gotta be up in that.
That's why it was gonna be his breakout role, dog. It accomplished everything he was out for because he wanted something to, make sure it took him out of his dad's shadow and all that kind of stuff, and I think it did all of that, you know. But I
And
was
that's
asking Graham, what was the deal with the Edward Furlong one? Because that was the fourth one, right? Or
The Wicked Prayer came out in 2005. Oh yeah, we didn't even say years on these other ones. I think Crow City of Angels. What was this?
So check it out. The City of Angels came out in '96. The Crow Salvation came out in 2000, and then the Crow Wicked Prayer came out in 2005. And that's the one with Edward Furlong, right?
It's super gothic. It's about a James Jimmy Cuervo, who was paroled after serving a prison sentence for killing a R word in a fight live with his dog in a mobile home. On the Raven Aztec Reservation. It was a weird one. I mean, I guess this one is very demonic, as Lucifer himself and stuff in it, so it went kind of crazy.
Yeah.
David Brianna is in it. You got that?
that's the third one.
No, that's
the fourth one.
Fourth one.
There's what? How many are there?
Well, okay, so that's the fourth one. That's the third sequel. So that's the fourth Crow movie, and then we'll talk about it soon here in a minute. Now there's going to be a remake that comes out this year. But that one had
Hey, hopefully they don't get that guy that played Batman. The Twilight vampire to play the Crow.
It's Bill Skarsgård. Yeah. Watch, I'll show you.
It's the guy that played
It. I told you he was the It.
Look at those. Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, dog, the trailer of it looks kind of cool, but at the same time, it looks very, very different. You could tell it's a totally different story. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I want to watch the whole thing and judge it then, but right now it's real iffy. But this Edward Furlong one though. Huh?
I think it's hard for us because we're like such fans of like Brandon, and because like for me personally, it's like hard to watch the other ones, and I haven't watched the other ones because like what he did in part one is just ruins it for me for the other ones because it was just so epic in part one. Because I tried to watch some of part two, but I was just like,
yeah. Yeah, I feel it kind of like that's how I was too, bro. And honestly, that's what I was trying to say about the Edward Furlong thing, man. Like, just the look of it and to see him all painted up and stuff just like looks so fucking corny and cheesy to me, bro, that I couldn't even do it. There was no way. You know what I mean?
yeah. But we'll never know. Maybe it might be good.
So it's like about him. It's a very goth one. He He wakes up and his town is a satanic biker gang led by convict Luke Death Crash and his fiancee Lola Byrne. So I believe that's the Tara Reid character, and I think the other one's David Boreanaz.
Tara Reid?
Yeah, that's what I was saying, and they're trying to reawaken the Antichrist, and
What's going on in America?
So what the hell? They dump their bodies inside an old freezer. The crow then appears and revives Jimmy, who discovers his newfound invincibility. See, this is where he comes up. So he was part of the bodies that they were sacrificing.
Dang.
He takes Lily's body and leaves it on the bed so they can be found. Tanner and Harold find the body and assume Jimmy killed Lily. And that's how he ends up dying. Because so the Satanist, okay, at this Gothic party. And yeah, it has Lucifer in it, like I said. And he's a host for Lucifer himself, and he telekinetically hangs Jimmy on the cross. It's some weird movie, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it sounds like some shit.
That's the description of the new one coming out?
No, this is the Edward Furlong one.
Yeah.
Oh.
But even the screenplay is not by David Goyer. Even Salvation was.
That was the one that you liked with Kristen Dunst.
Yeah, I know, but I'm trying to see who wrote it.
So, just to kind of circle back real quick to some of the characters in the first one. The one that played the mom, the Darla character, didn't y'all think that she looked like kind of like Drew Barrymore? Like maybe like related to Drew Barrymore? It could be like her cousin or sister or something.
Yeah, like her hair, her similarity.
I thought she looked a lot like her, bro. It kind of tripped me out when I was watching back not too long ago.
I mean, it might have been her clone or something.
You never know. You never know.
You
And
just never know these days.
what other like iconic scenes did you guys have from The Crow, from the movie that always stick out to you?
Like where he's like tying that foot. Oh, I heard this was like something too that they were really doing that. Like when he's throwing the knives at him, and like Brandon like really caught it, and he was really slapping him off of like out of the way. But
Yep.
I was like, what? Because they were saying like that was one of the things that made me like the movie too. Was he did pretty much all his own stunts and all that. And
Yeah, I
was like,
heard
that.
a lot of his
I was
own
like, I thought that was kind of cool because like only Jackie Chan was like the only other one that was doing his own stunts, you know, around then. Like seemed like, but
yeah, that was tight. I don't know if he was slapping the knives and stuff, but I did see something about him doing a lot of his own stunts. So that is pretty badass. You're right.
Yeah, that was a cool scene.
One of my favorite scenes is like the whole one when he goes to the pawn shop and he gets the ring.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like he's all
throws them.
yeah, and then he's like just like another life or like you know like
Yep.
all the memories on the rings and stuff. That's pretty. Yeah, that part's tight. And he's like, and then right before he leaves, he's like, "What's that? Do I smell?" Like, and he blasts
Gasoline.
the ring.
So
Yeah,
nice now.
and then he has his guitar.
I like how he just like walks into the scene. Like there's a couple scenes where he walks in and he just has the guitar all tight, like it's his sword or something. You know what I mean?
My favorite scene that really resonated with me is the scene where he first comes back and he goes to the apartment, right? And then he's having all the flashbacks and he grabs the window and he freaking does that flip up and he comes back.
Yeah.
Hands heal. And then he breaks the mirror and he starts painting his face. And it's that song by The Cure.
Yep.
I love that scene.
Yep, that's one of my favorite ones too, bro. And that part, like where his hands heal, dog, is sick, fool. That whole part, you're like, when that happens.
And it was tight because like like nowadays, I mean, they had special effects that's pretty cool, but back in those days, they didn't have the special effects that good, and and they were on point with stuff. You're like, oh, what? Huh? Like, hey,
Right.
that was cool. Like
Yep.
just like I was saying when he shot his hand. I love that part. He's all looking at him. He's
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
through the hole in his hand. That's so funny. I
Oh,
was like,
another one I like is when he kills Fun Boy and he's like, "What have you done to my sheets?" He
Yeah.
tells her,
He tells the Jesus joke at that point, remember?
"Oh
But
yeah, he does."
I like the scene where he's sitting with Ernie Hudson and it's at his house after he scares the crap out of him, right? And he was like,
Yeah.
"You were dead. I seen you too." And then he takes his Shelley's memories, right? But I love that scene where he's smoking the cigarette. He says, "These will kill you." And basically he's telling him that story how Shelley always used to think things were trivial. But he says,
Yeah.
"Believe nothing is trivial." I like that part. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
really cool.
Super deep, bro. So fucking deep. It's so fucking cool. And that's like what reminds me of his dad. You know what I'm saying? Because his dad would say some shit like that. You know what I mean? That's fucking tight, bro. I really like that scene too. A
yeah.
lot of his dialogue is to me more impactful than a lot of the fucking action. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The action scenes. So it's really cool.
It was like they used like certain words to just like kind of punch like into your brain or resonate. You know what I mean? Like that one I was saying earlier, where it can't rain all the time. Everybody relates to that, because we
Yep.
always go through, and it's kind of like funny because it's raining in the movie scene, but they're also talking about like depression and life, raining and through the emotions, the
Yep.
ups and downs, smiles and frowns.
And when
Oh, buddy.
this scene so sick that it's freaking where he's all in a bash the devil stood and felt how awful goodness was, and that he keeps saying that. And that ends up being the thing that he's saying as he's getting taped to the car and he puts that brick on it and drives
Yep.
him the bridge. And that's where he
Yep.
lights that fire crow. Very sick scenes.
The whole fucking scene is sick right there, bro. There's so many of them. And like, I know I brought up the little girl character earlier, but man, I feel like she carries so much weight in the movie. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
she's such an awesome character. Like when she comes back to the apartment also, and she's like talking to him, saying like, "I know you're there" and whatever. And then she's like, "Well, screw you then," And then he comes back. That whole scene is iconic to me. The scene when she's with Ernie Hudson at the fucking
Hot dog stand.
at the hot dog stand, and she
Oh
says
yeah.
about how onions make you fart or whatever. You know, I remember being a little kid and like remembering that scene. Excuse me.
And it's
Carton
like
fucking.
like a comic relief in the movies when they kind of throw those scenes in there,
Yep.
Yeah,
because it is a real sad story, like, man.
it is.
It's heavy, bro. It's heavy. Like we talked about it in the beginning about how strong of a love story it is, and bro, like that's the kind of love we all strive for, dog. Like the one that they have. You know what I mean? The
I
Eric, you're
know what you're saying.
real, dog. Like we all in our lives. You know what I mean? Like every person. You know what I mean? Strives to find that kind of love. So
I
it's
I
something like you said a minute ago is very relatable.
I found it. Oh, yeah, yeah. Say my love.
There he goes.
But it's so
No,
sick, that
but
movie.
it's like you said though. You see, it's like a Romeo and Juliet, a love that that you hope to have with your significant other. You know,
Yep.
you like feel it. Like you're like, oh man. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we're just over an hour. We're actually coming up on like an hour and four right now. We're making excellent time. You want to get into some of the more love the legacy from it? Like you brought up a minute ago how there was a whole freaking wrestling character completely ripped off of the Crow. You know what I mean? And like has its own fucking fandom and all that. Because to be honest with y'all, the fucking Sting Crow character to me, dog, is like one of the dopest fucking character transformations in wrestling history. You know what I mean?
And truth be told, Scott Hall's the one who came up with that idea. He's the one who told Sting you should paint your face like the Crow.
What? That's tight. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, and thank you to the bad guy for giving us giving Steve Borden that new breath of fresh air for his character, because it definitely changed wrestling and changed his life.
Hey, when we saw him in the at Denver at the it used to be the Pepsi Center, but I don't know where it's now, where the Nuggets are.
Arena.
Yeah, fucking Sting came down from the Raptors. You know, I used to come down in the Sting character. But it was crazy, like we were looking up there the whole time because we're like, he's gonna come down. We did not see him. He just fucking what the fuck? Where'd he come from?
I never knew that WCW did anything in the Pepsi Center, bro. I thought it was always fucking the Coliseum. I thought it was that old.
Or it might have been I don't know. I still have the ticket actually. I'll have to look it up and I'll find out for sure. But this was when I first moved to Denver, so like when I was probably like 14, 15 years old.
Yeah, bro. I'm talking like we were at the Coliseum, and I'll bet you and I were at the same fucking shows, dog. Because I was at those shows.
Yeah, but you and I, Remo, we've been to ones at the Pepsi Center.
Yeah, but those were a lot more recent. You know what I mean? Those were within the last 15 years or so.
No, because when I went and seen during the Attitude Era, I went and seen a house show. It was at the Pepsi Center, and everyone during the Attitude Era was there except for Undertaker was out on an elbow injury. The Rock was out. I can't remember why. I think he just didn't show, and Austin was out on an injury.
Yeah, the three biggest fucking guys.
Dude, no, but DX was there. All of DX, the Hardys. I got to see the Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian have a tables match with chairs, which was cool. Cactus Jack, I got to see Cactus Jack, and that's my favorite face of Foley. And shout out to Consequences, Soul. Kane, I got to see the Big Red Machine as in his prime, and it was dope. The biggest man I've ever seen in my life, like personally with my eyes.
Right.
And, I mean, there was a lot of dope things, dude, that went on. Kurt Angle was the main event, I think, against Chris Jericho or something.
That's right.
There's Hardcore Holly and the Big Boss Man. Oh man, Rikishi and Too Cool was there. Can't remember who they fought. Al Snow
wasn't Rikishi was that big old dude, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's the Uso dad and Solos.
The biggest one was Yokozuna, but Rikishi almost got that big.
There was a lot of cool people there, and it was the Attitude Era. It was so sick. It was when Y2J first came out too in WWE.
That's super tight, bro. And you said all of DX was there, so Shawn was there too, or no?
Oh, it was Triple H and the New Age Outlaws, X-Pac. I mean,
okay, no, that's badass. Yeah, that's still badass. But fucking, I didn't get to see any of that shit, bro. But you know how you were talking about how Kane was the largest man you've ever seen with your eyes, bro. I went to a fucking WWE show and I saw the Big Show, and I was like, what the fuck? And then after the fucking Big Show, well, you know what? I saw him as the Giant when I was a kid, you know what I mean, in WCW, but I don't really remember it.
Nah, he got bigger.
I don't remember it that well, you know what I mean? So I couldn't really say. But after I saw the Big Show at the same fucking show, I saw Khali, the great Khali. And that motherfucker, bro, he's like scary big, dog. That motherfucker made you feel uncomfortable and shit. Like a fucking lion was loose in the fucking zoo and shit. You were like, oh, like, is that even real, dog? Like, oh no. Fuck me up, dog. I swear. I was like shitting when I saw that fool, dog. I've never felt like that in my life, dog. Like I was straight up shitting for this dude. I was like, oh no.
He's probably Nephilim.
Yeah. Well, they say he's what? Is he like? Did they bill him as 7'8" or 7'9" or something?
No, he's not that tall. He's like 7'3", maybe 7'4".
No, but you know how they overbill the people because they
Oh
say
yeah,
Big Show's 7'4", so he's not 7'4" according to them because
yeah.
he's taller than the Big Show. So I
I,
think they call him 7'8" or 7'9" or something like that. I think.
I
Let me
don't know.
look it up.
But this is not a wrestling podcast. We have another one of those.
Yeah, let's.
There's this other wrestling
Hey,
podcast.
so why do you think Sting did that shit? Just because he was switching to the NWO?
Well, so he was in the running to be, the third guy in the NWO, but he was actually the one that fought against the NWO, the one that stood for righteousness, you know what I mean, and tried to be the good guy character. So he actually stayed in the rafters for a whole year, and he wouldn't fuck with nothing, dog. He would go and he would like kind of jack him up and whatever, and they didn't know. They tried to recruit him and shit. They tried to get him involved, and he took the shirt when they handed it to him, and then they fucking turned around, dog, and he jacked him up, and like they kept
After
fucking.
he ripped it off, and it wasn't pre-ripped like Hogan's. He ripped it
Yeah,
like a stud.
yeah. There was a lot of cool stuff, bro. It was a lot of. It definitely, redefined his career, but like I think he just was trying to change, trying to change with the attitude because he was like how Hulk Hogan was a few years before him. You know what I mean? Like just the yellow and red and all this cartoony shit. Like Sting was all bright colors and kind of cartoony superhero shit. So he needed
So
to change with the time to stay relevant.
he he remember, it's because the reason why he stayed in the Raptors because he felt like he got betrayed by not only his friends at that pay-per-view, and it was he was with Macho Man and Luger, wasn't he, on his team, and
Yeah.
it was against the NWO, who was Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash. And at the end, didn't Macho join?
Yeah, Mach was the first one to go with him. Yeah,
Oh
but
yeah,
like I said, this isn't a wrestling podcast. Let's get
this
back
is
to
a wrestling
No, hold on,
podcast now.
because they say he's 7'1", 347 pounds.
for Kali.
Hmm.
They say he's only 7'1". No way.
Yeah.
You were
All,
small then.
all I know is that motherfucker made you say, "Oh shit" when you saw him. Anyway, so the Crow, like I said, has a lot of fucking legacy, a lot of legs to it. Obviously it has this wrestling character based off of it, has all these sequels, and now it has this remake. Grim, you want to get into this remake? Have you seen the trailer for it?
Briefly.
Briefly?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We want to briefly get into it.
Well, I think it's shot like, so it doesn't have like the
Um,
dark look to it like how this one does, right? It looks like a lot more nowadays comic booky kind of shit. You know what I mean? Like Marvel, kind of movie. The
hopefully we
dude,
don't get in
the
trouble.
dude. I'm sorry, what?
I said hopefully we don't get in trouble for this.
Now that you're quite brilliant and broken.
Ooh, hey, ooh la la. Yeah. What are we watching? A dirty movie?
No, check it out, Doge. Like, see what I'm saying? Like, it's not really dark, and it doesn't have like that
Ugh.
black that black and white washed out feel to it. You know what I mean? This one you could tell that,
Jeez.
even though
Hey,
it
do you
has
know
this.
what you're supposed to do when that happens to you?
Dope they use that Ozzy song though.
Did he say something?
I don't know. I might check it out for the show.
Watch, wait till you see what he actually looks like as the Crow.
It looks like some good scenes though I could use for some memes.
No, here you go.
I put the Skull Cowboy in it.
It does have the Skull Cowboy?
Well, is that the guy who just dropped him in the rain or in the water?
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. I'm gonna have to look again.
Are those bats? Is that Batman?
Oh, it's
Right. To me,
Dude,
looks.
I imagine the special effects and all that are gonna be pretty sick.
You know who he reminds me of, dog? He reminds me of the Joker, the fucking the one that what's his name played.
So it's a movie or a series?
a movie.
It's coming out the theaters here soon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like, soon.
in the summer.
Are you guys gonna go watch it?
I don't know. Maybe.
You gotta wait for its bootleg, huh?
I don't know. I don't
That's
know.
Bro,
Maybe.
right there.
Hey, have you took your have you took your kids to see the new Inside Out 2 yet?
Oh damn it, not yet, but soon. Maybe this weekend.
Hey, but
You slacker.
talking about this movie, I kind of want to mention how this movie was in developmental hell for many years, and it was supposed to be Jason Momoa playing it, and finally just gave up on that movie and went
For the
this.
Crow? Jason
Yeah.
Momoa was gonna do the Crow? Oh,
Yeah.
that's horrible.
Oh yeah, I think he actually filmed some shit for it too.
Yeah, there were pictures
God.
of pro makeup and stuff, but thing is here's how I feel about it. I guess the show was all right because you were doing something else and it wasn't really trying to remake the movie, even though the first episode hints at it, the first couple episodes, I guess. I feel like with Brandon Lee having passed away in the making of the Crow movie, that's like a testament to his legacy. And I honestly don't feel that they should be doing this, you know. I don't feel they should be remaking the movie that Brandon Lee passed away in, honestly.
I mean, it has been snake bit from the very beginning, right? So like, why dust up some old shit? You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, I'm interested in it. I'll probably check it out. I hope it does well, all the good things, but at the same time, I don't know if it was completely necessary. And the way that they're doing it, I don't know, it just kind of rubs me the wrong way. I don't like dude having short hair. I don't like him looking so much like the Joker. I don't like it not looking so dark and black and white. I really liked how that looked in the first one. It was like a washed out kind of vibe to it. And even though it still had vibrant colors and a lot of that to it still, um, I do like that they're keeping the Eric Draven and Shelley Webster characters. I don't know. I don't know. It didn't really show much as far as like the villains go. I saw like one person that they kind of highlight in the trailers. Black dude in the car, and he says, "Didn't I kill you or something?" I saw that.
I'll have to watch the trailer again, but I mean, I said it earlier, like it was just really hard. You know, that it just happens with some of these iconic actors that they do something so they set the bar so high that
Yep.
it's kind of hard to really get it. I mean, I don't know anybody that could fit into that role and match the, you know,
So
it'd be better. They should just remaster the old one.
the Jason Momoa story started back in 2016. So he basically was on that project for almost 5 years, I think. And the reason why he exited the project, so I'm thinking it is the same movie minus him, because it said that there was creative differences in the movie. That's why he left.
They wanted him to cut his hair.
Is that what it was?
Oh, I know. I'm just talking shit.
I was thinking.
Shit 'cause this dude has short hair.
No, it was because there wasn't enough little kids in it. You know, he's like a big old fan of little kids.
Yeah, where the fuck? Fucking dogs always be coming left field with some crazy shit. Like, oh yeah, buddy.
Hey, so let's get into what do you think, dude? Was it a assassination? Hits? was the who was it? They said that the Chinese gangs are after the Lee family, and that's why they set it up for him to get killed too. the
Man,
the triads.
you know, you know, man, like when I really, really think about it, bro, it's hard to not feel like that can't be a possibility because Bruce really stirred up a lot of shit and he really like rubbed some people the wrong fucking way, dog. And some of these motherfuckers are gangster, dog. And some gangster motherfuckers do some gangster fucking shit. And sometimes that gangster ass shit has something to do with your family and all of that, dog. So,
Yeah, is
you
it
know,
ironic? Okay, Remo, and you could say this because remember we used to watch this in my apartment all the time, all of the Bruce Lee movies. In Game of Death, though, he's an actor named Billy Lowe, and he encounters the syndicate, and they want him and his girlfriend, who's a singer, to join the syndicate so they can make money off of them for protection or whatever it is, right? And he refuses. So then they have one of their cronies. He's one of the guys that when a bunch of guys are shooting Bruce, Billy Lowe, at the end scene of this movie, one of the guys, he takes out the blank and puts a real bullet in it and he shoots him in the face. And Billy Lowe fakes his death and gets facial reconstructive surgery. This is how they try to tie in this other actor. So anyways, and he hides out, remember, because they're coming after his fiance or whatever. And so he hides out to try to get the syndicate before he comes back into the limelight. And so Brandon Lee passing in that same manner, right? And I didn't want to bring it up till the Bruce show, but I was watching this thing with Bolo,
yeah,
Bolo Young, and he was talking about that the real story about Bruce's death is that he didn't die the way that they tell you that he died. There was other things, kind of like what you guys are talking about, you know what I mean? Which we could probably get into more on the Bruce episode, but
yeah. We'll give that a couple of weeks to chew on, and we'll figure out some more stuff. Look at Dose; he's already. Look at him, he's ready, motherfucker. That's tight.
there's a lot of surrounding both their deaths, and it was called the Curse of the Dragon. But people knew it when we were growing up, right? When you wanted to mention that movie, The Dragon, the Bruce Lee story coming out with Jason Scott Lee, that kind of touched on that whole thing and how Bruce was trying to protect Brandon from the same curse, right? And that he thought he beat it in Enter the Dragon in that movie, which the movie's complete BS mostly.
But didn't his wife write the movie?
She didn't write it, but she was heavily involved. Or I don't know if she was heavily involved, but I know she was involved.
There's this movie that Bruce Lee does about the Bruce Lee's life, and Remo, you watch that with me. That one is kind of more accurate, I feel.
Oh, that's the one that talks about the mistress and all that too, right?
Yeah, and it talked about him going through college and stuff, and the whole hashish. Remember, they were offering him to smoke weed, but oh yeah, we'll get into that in the other one.
Yeah, we got a couple of weeks still. Look at those. You better stop it. Stop it. Motherfucker.
So that's about
this joint.
He's like, damn.
So this appears to be basically a remake that is weird, and I don't know. Like I said, I'll probably watch it too, maybe at some point. We'll see. I just don't like that they're remaking it, you know?
Yeah, I think we all feel the same way. We all kind of have the same sentiment towards it. But I think it's because we all have this emotional attachment to the first one. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, but here's the thing. Obviously, there's multiple Crow characters.
Yeah.
Why go back and rehash it? Why can't you just continue on the story or make your own story? You're already changing it so much from the original.
You're right. You're very right. And like I said a minute ago, how the sequel I felt should have been more of the story of the girl. They could have done that too, and that could have been cool. There could have been a lot of different avenues that could have went down, but I guess we'll find out and see how well this is done. It, like I said, it looked good. It looks like a well done movie, but it just doesn't feel like The Crow, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
What do you think, Saul?
Tell me something, Doge.
I'll probably watch it, check it out. You know, just to be relevant. Uh, but what I don't get, like, I'm a type of writer myself, like, but all these guys just keep recycling shit. You know, they're remaking the Goonies, they're remaking this, that. You know, it's like, dude, can you guys write something original? Like, can we
They,
can we can we stop with the remakes?
same with music, dog. They keep stealing shit too. I mean, just like they did in our generation too. I mean,
Well,
that's
then
just
like
what
too,
they.
everybody like with music so disappointing anymore. It's like everybody just drops these shit albums that are like 20, 30 minutes, and you're like, dude, what the? I remember it was cool, like listening to a long album and getting into it, you know, and then like, but we'll see. I think you'll probably have some cool special effects and stuff in it. I mean, it'd be modernized, so it'll look the video, the film would probably be dope. I mean, I don't know about the acting and the storyline, but
Yeah.
I'm sure the
Well,
graphics are gonna be dope.
well, Homeboy looks like he does a good job. I just honestly, it keeps fucking with me because of the whole similarity with the Joker thing. You know, I think that's what keeps fucking with me. So I don't know. Maybe once I watch it and like actually see him as the Crow and it changes that for me, maybe that'll help. But for right now, that's all I see. You know, and what the
I,
fuck is that guy's name? Y'all know his name. What's his name that plays the Joker?
Oh, which Joker? Heath Ledger?
Joaquin Phoenix.
No, the fucking one that he looks like that's all tatted up, the one from
Oh,
Suicide
Jared
Squad.
Leto. The
Yeah,
cult.
Oh,
fuck.
Oh man.
dude,
Yeah,
did you
about
guys
the
hear this?
Mars Island.
That guy's a legit weirdo.
Dude, Remo, you would trip out, dude. He has what's called Mars Island, okay? And he brings out freaking 16-year-old kids for a summer vacation that get to do private tours with him. And one time, because everyone was calling it a cult, he freaking came out and performed because you know he's part of the band 30 Seconds to Mars, and he's the lead singer. They do that song from yesterday and stuff. But anyways, he came out dressed like Jesus because you know he has the long hair and the beard and stuff. So he was basically mocking that everyone was calling it a cult, which who knows? But either way, when you have underage minors on that island by themselves without their parents for days on end is weird, regardless of what you might say that you're doing over there, having like yoga parties and you get to have these private sessions with him where he's getting to take you out and do some of the things he does, spiritual things.
They
And
they had some weird like VIP packages where you could sleep in
yeah,
the tent with him,
yeah,
and you guys like it was I think it was a documentary on Netflix, but yeah, that I was like,
Yeah.
what? And then they said on the set too, he would like send other actors like dildos and sex toys, and like he would do like real weird
Yeah.
stuff and stuff.
Fucking, you guys have done this to me for like 3 or 4 episodes already. Well, I'm over here like talking about some cool ass little innocent shit, just minding my
it's
own fucking
Asia.
business. You're like, damn, did you know this actor used to throw dildos at people? And I'm like, what? Y'all fools are crazy.
What?
I didn't know. I
Look,
didn't know any
dude,
of
you
that
gotta
shit
see this.
about Jared Leto, bro. I didn't know any of that shit at all.
You
Yeah,
gotta
there's
see
this.
this in
Oh, go ahead.
Croatia. Wait till it loads, I guess.
Oh
But
fuck. Well, we're coming down to our last like minute, y'all. So we gotta like wrap it up. My fault. I gave you
wrap
guys some
it up
ass.
like on the Chappelle show. But look, there's Jesus
Oh yeah, yeah, yep. I see.
on Mars Island.
That's crazy.
I was gonna say real quick before we end. There's a cool video called like I'll try to send it to our Texas. But it's like the curse of the crow. But there was a lot of people that like died making these movies, like had weird,
Damn.
fucked up lives, mental issues, like surrounding all of the different movies. So it was like they said like after the Brandon thing happened, it was kind of like weird, like the franchise was like cursed and stuff. So it was kind of interesting. I have to find that video. I was just like, what? It was pretty wild, you know.
Yep. Well, real quick, right before we end, our very, very last thing, we have to do our rating, y'all. So, how many hits is it worth? We're starting a new thing. 1 hit, 2 hits, or 3 hits? I'm
For
giving it.
Definitely 3 hits.
I'm giving it a hit.
For the new one,
No, the original.
the original,
Yeah.
I Hit freaking 3 hits.
So I say one, you say that's 3 hits. Let's do it. 3 hits for the Crow. Dro Bros out. Follow our shit. Peace.
Bye, guys.